Hello and welcome. We're in the car, we're driving, obviously. I'm so pleased that you're here, and I just felt inspired to do an episode on a private practice checklist. So this is going to be really great for people who are starting, yes, but also people who are thinking about it and people who are in it, but it's not actually working yet. Hopefully this is super helpful. Okay, I do have a private practice checklist as well that I will put into the show notes for you a little bit later on, so you come back and you can grab that too. It's free. There's also a paid one if you want one that's a little bit more sort of done for you, in-depth type thing. Anywho, if you're starting a private practice, there are essential things and then there are nice to have things. So I'm going to talk with you about, in my experience as a trained coach and somebody who's been helping people in private practice for years now, exactly what I would recommend to my private clients that I work with who are wanting to start a business so that they can get to profit more quickly and then really start doing the work and enjoying themselves. So the very first thing I would say is, number one, niche. I know some people are going to click out when they hear me say that, but a niche when you're first starting your private practice is the fastest way. Research shows when you have a specific area that you work in, you get found more quickly and you attract more inquiries more quickly, and you can start to fill your books more quickly than a generalist private practice. Now, there are going to be people who say, oh, that's not true. I had a general private practice and I don't niche and I got full, within 1 week or something. Sure, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule. For example, if you're the only practice within Kui, of another one, then you've got pretty much free reign to do whatever you want in terms of the challenges you work with, the clients that you work with, the presentations, the modalities, all those kinds of things, right? Compared to somebody who's got a brick and mortar business or, more challenging online, where there is a lot of competition. So if it's important to you to start making money as quickly as possible, identify a niche first. The niche doesn't necessarily have to be something like anxiety or grief or anything like that. Your niche could be the way that you work. It could be your philosophy. It could be something you stand for, or maybe something you stand against. But it could also be a modality that you really enjoy using and that works for the population of clients or the type of presentation that you're really passionate about helping with. So the other reason that it's very important to have a niche when you want to get to profit the most quickly is because it really allows you to call in the right clients for you, because you have very clear messaging. For example, if I said my private practice helps people of all ages, children, teenagers, adults, and people later on in life with all of the things like anxiety, depression, trauma, grief and loss, ADHD, and then I have a list of all the things I've ever come across or known, CBT, ACT, rapid resolution therapy, all the things. I list all those there. It's going to take a lot longer, because when I go to do my marketing, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, blogging, emails, even my website, I'm going to end up with a very general message because my audience is very general. So my message is going to be something along the lines of, I help people of all ages with all the things. The problem with that can be that nobody's actually looking for somebody that works with clients of all ages for all the things with all the modalities. When people are looking for support, they're looking for something specific. It may be a mother that's looking for play therapy to support her 7-year-old son who's getting bullied at school and is now beginning to withdraw at home and exhibiting signs of school refusal, or maybe even school can't. Do you see what I mean? She's not typing into Google, show me a practice that does all the things for all the people. She's looking for a type of practice that's going to solve the problem that she's dealing with and that her son is dealing with, right? If you have that niche, it means that the messaging that you put out into the world with your marketing, no matter where you put it, now speaks to that person, because that's what you do, right? So now your messaging becomes, if you're a mum of boys under 10 that are experiencing bullying, and that's now moving into school avoidance and school refusal and school can't, things like that, play therapy can be incredibly beneficial. Welcome to ABCXYZ Play Therapy. My name is Sally Jones, and this is exactly what I help mums and their sons to do, right? Or what I help mums and sons with. Now the client, she's seen the first website. I do all the things for all the people all the time, and I'm open 24/7. I mean, I say my hours are 9 to 5, but I will stay back if you need me to. I don't work on weekends, but if you can only make it on the weekends, then I'm flexible and I will see you on a weekend. Versus this other website that says, hey, you know, I can absolutely appreciate if you're a mum and you've got a little boy under 10 and this is his experience at the moment, and maybe you've tried all of the things that you can imagine. Maybe you've tried psychology, counselling, the wellbeing team at the school, you know, etc. Nothing seems to be working. I want you to know that play therapy can absolutely work, and here's why. You know, can you see the difference in the specificity with the messaging? This is why it works, and this is why I will never, I will die on this mountain. Like, it is so important to me to help women healers, whether they're counsellors, psychologists, social workers, play therapists, doesn't matter. I want you to get to profit as quickly as possible. And so I'm giving you the hacks. Fight me if you want, totally okay. You can say, no, it's not going to work for me. That's completely fine, but this is what works. So I would do that. And I would take my time with it and really get clear on your messaging that's going to go on the homepage on your website. You've heard me say it so many times before, the website isn't necessarily always going to be the first place that your clients find you, but it's where 80% of the decision is made about whether or not they're going to make an appointment to work with you. So it's very important that there's consistency between what you're putting out there into the world with your marketing and what's on your website is happening. So important. Have a very specific message on that website. The other thing that I wanted to share with you would be the second on the list is going to be making sure that you have a business plan. I know there are so many social workers, there are so many practitioners in private practice that don't have a business plan. I don't know why it happens. I think it's just, you didn't do the course, or we don't know, we don't do the things if we're not aware of them. And I don't know, maybe we just assume that the hard part is getting the qualification done and the rest is going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I think too, if we were working for employers, then we'd be aware of a business plan because we'd be implementing it, right? That's our job, to implement a part of that business plan. All the employees have their roles, and each of those roles is playing a part of doing what's on the business plan. But when you work for yourself and you don't understand about a business plan, it might not occur to you to have one. And the reason that we really want one is because it can close the gap from starting from zero in terms of clients, visibility, audience, revenue, all those kinds of things, to fully booked, whatever fully booked looks like for you, which is, it's different for everyone, okay? Some people it's half a day a week, some people it's 2 days a week, other people want to do it 5 days and see, 10 clients a day over those 5 days. It doesn't matter, but to get you there, you need that plan. Otherwise, you're just making it up as you go, and the problem with making it up as you go is you can end up doing a lot of work, and as a result of being busy with work, you don't have time to work on the business, and that means that you miss out on making money, working with the right clients, creating peace in your business, creating profit, all those kinds of things. So a plan says to you, right, you've told me that you want to go from 0 to 100k this year. The plan has got the steps of how you're going to do that. So 9 times out of 10, when somebody says to me, hey Brooklyn, I've been thinking about practice momentum for a while now, and I think I'm at the point where I need it and I want to do it, I'll say to them, great, how long have you been in business? 6 years, 11 years, 17 years, somebody said to me last week. I said, brilliant. And she goes, yeah, I know what I'm doing, I'm just struggling a bit. And I said, struggling with what? And she's like, paying myself, I'm really busy, not paying myself regularly and not paying myself enough, all the things. I said to her, okay, great, can you send me over your business plan? Because I imagined that she would have one after being in business for 17 years. Didn't have one. And then I spoke to a couple of other people, and same thing, nobody had one. I think that the value of having a business plan is it means you can reduce overwhelm. I think overwhelm happens when you don't know what you're meant to be doing, so you start chasing bright shiny objects. But I also think overwhelm happens when you have an idea of what you should be doing, but maybe you're not clear on how. And so for whatever reason, instead of looking at the how, you end up kind of going down rabbit holes and all of those kinds of things. So that's the value of a plan. It's going to stop all of those things happening and make your business that much easier and get you to where you want and need it to be the most more quickly than if you don't have one. Now, you don't have to have a really long business plan. You could have a simple one-page business plan. In fact, inside Momentum, I'd have to check. I'm driving now, so I can't see, but I think I've got 4 or 5 different templates for how to business plan, and a GPT that talks them through how to make a business plan. And they can make business plans that can be broken down into quarters or months or weeks, and even a 1-day business plan or a 1-morning business plan. So it doesn't have to be bigger than Ben-Hur. It gets to be simple and easy and light and non-scary, and it can be values driven, but definitely have a business plan. The third thing is, from the business plan, you'll create your marketing plan. So again, sometimes it's just really overlooked, but sometimes I'll say to people who are wanting help getting clients, how are you marketing the practice? Are you marketing it? What's happening? Do you have a marketing plan, marketing strategy? They say, yep, doing all of that. I say, great, what are you doing? And they say, post on Facebook, and I'm doing reels on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I've got my website and I'm blogging there. And I'm like, okay, great. How can I see the plan? They're like, well, I don't actually have one. It's just that I'm doing it. I said, okay, so there's no plan just yet, no problem. Do you have the marketing strategy? Can you send that to me so that I can see the strategy? But I just told you what it is. I'm like, no, you told me what you're doing, but you haven't. I need to see the marketing strategy. So your business needs to have these 2 documents. They don't have to be documents. They could be apps. They could be GPTs. It doesn't matter. But you need these 2 things. One is a marketing plan, and then the second is the marketing strategy that you're going to use to breathe life into this plan. Okay, so the marketing plan is part of the overall business plan, and its job is different for everybody depending on the type of practice, your business model, your own situation with the business. So for example, some practices are new, but they're not so fussed about getting to profit. Sometimes there are women that go and study and then they start a private practice, but they don't have the same financial drive or the same financial incentive, because maybe for these particular women that I've spoken to, for them it was more the business is more like a hobby. They don't really need to do it. They have money in the bank, the house is paid off, the kids have flown the coop. She's kind of just killing time while she's waiting for hubby to finish doing his thing. And so that's a very different position to other women who might be, I don't know, this is serious for them in that it's their livelihood and it's very important to them to get it off the ground, because they've got maybe school fees to pay, they've got to pay lawyers for upcoming divorces and settlements or relocations, all those kinds of things. And then there are other women, yet again, who are in different situations where they're wanting to come off payments. And so for them, the drive is very different. So you've got a few different groups of motivation with the business, and that motivation impacts how the business is going to market itself. There is no point the hobbyist private practice doing aggressive marketing, paid advertising, spending a lot of time behind the scenes, really refining in very high level of detail things like their website and their Psychology Today profile, Google My Business and things like that. There's no point. She would just be wasting her time. She's going to be fine with one or two other things. But then people who are, I need the money right now, do need a very aggressive marketing plan. And the marketing plan is something that no two private practices will ever have the same. You might have the same template, but the actual approach is going to be different because your practices are unique. And we need to do marketing that addresses the goal that you have. So a goal could be income or revenue, but the goal might not be that. For some people, the goal is visibility. They need to build an audience. And that's important because you can't sell therapy sessions, counseling sessions, supervision to an empty hall, right? Imagine going to, I don't know, the Coldplay concert and Chris Martin and everybody, they're there on the stage, and then they look out and there's nobody in the audience, right? Now, if they stand up and they say, hey, we're going to sell tickets to our next concert, or hey, you can come and buy my t-shirts, there's nobody there to buy them. And so it doesn't matter if Chris Martin says, okay, then, well, I'll just do 30% off the t-shirt. Still nobody's going to buy because there's nobody there to buy. So this is why understanding marketing is very important. And when you're first starting your private practice, don't make the mistake of quickly rushing out and selling, because as I said, it's the equivalent of screaming into the void. You need to take time to build your audience. So yeah, there are some businesses that will need to focus on that first. Once you've got the audience, then of course we can start selling. We can start getting inquiry calls, discovery calls, money coming in, bookings, sign-ups, registrations, all of the things. That can happen. But audience building must come first. It makes sense, right? But we overlook it. So what do you do then when you're saying, okay, I want to open my private practice, but I don't want to be paying for the room or the room hire and things like that, if you're telling me I've got to build an audience first? Because I really just want to start seeing clients. I get it. I absolutely want you to start seeing clients too. But you have to understand, if there's nobody that knows that you're there, you're just not going to get them. Unless, of course, you're in a situation where there's more demand than there is supply of counsellors, psychologists, social workers in your area, your niche, your field, whatever it is. And that could be the case for some people, sure, but you're the minority, and respectfully, you're not who I'm talking to right now. For everybody else, the way that you go about it is you start marketing your business 90 days before you open for business. So that gives you 90 days of audience building first. And then as you approach, the last 3 weeks of that 90-day period, then you start saying, okay, we've got, availability, etc., etc., and you can do your selling kind of stuff over there. So choose a day. You might say the 1st of, July. So that tells you 90 days before then, which is going to be March, I think. Yep. From March to the 1st of July, you are audience building. Okay. The practice has not officially opened in terms of clients and bums on seats or anything like that, but your audience growing. This ensures that when the door is open and people can start booking, etc., and you do go and start sitting in the room that you're paying for by the hour, or the morning or the afternoon or the day or whatever it is, you open to clients from day one. Does that make sense? It's better that you do that. Sometimes people get it in reverse because they don't know, and they will get very excited about going and getting a premises, or just starting the website and then saying, boom, here I am, world, I'm open and I can't wait to support you, and I'm so passionate about trauma, or whatever it is, and it's crickets. And so what do? They start posting more and more and more and more, lowering their fees, all of the things, and still nothing. It's not that they can't do the job. They can do the job. It's that they aren't marketing properly, and they don't realise that they're not marketing properly. And for them, because they don't have that awareness or the knowledge, they think it must be that they're not doing it enough, and so they're doing the wrong thing, and then they're doing more of the wrong thing, hoping that it's going to work, and it doesn't. I don't want you in that situation, okay? That's why I'm saying, no, marketing comes first. It's marketing first, so that from day one, you've got clients. And even in Practice Momentum, some of the very first things that we do are updating the website. So really refining the niche, really refining the messaging, updating the website, making sure that's all good before we even start saying, I'm ready, I've got availability, come and book your calls with me. We don't be doing any of that until we've got our ducks in a row. And this is why I'm sharing it with you. The other thing that we do inside Momentum is audience building, and so they learn how to create the freebie, for example, that's going to grow the audience and build the list. The other thing that's really, 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 really important before you start seeing clients, and it's part of your marketing strategy, the strategy is the actions that you're going to take, when you're going to take them, how you're going to measure what actions are working, and which ones might need a little bit of a tweak or an adjustment. And while it might seem a little bit dry and a little bit boring, looking at your numbers is one of the quickest and easiest ways for you to get to understand the shortest pathway, a dependable pathway, reliable pathway for clients to come and find you. And over time, you can even start to put this on autopilot, as you heard in the previous episode. So, again, there are some people that might go and make a freebie and it just doesn't work for all kinds of things. They don't understand what it is. They don't understand the purpose and the function. They think that it's a generous act to create something for nothing and gift it to people who visit the website. And they're right, it is all of those things, but it's also more. Another part of the marketing strategy is identifying one place, just one. And it must be the place where your audience is most likely to be spending their time. You don't need to be on Instagram. In fact, I would say never Instagram for counselling, psychology and social work, especially without an audience, and it's not a great way to build one. I would avoid Instagram. I would say most of you, it's probably going to be Facebook, because you're going to be able to be part of somebody else's community, which will allow you to be known, but it will allow you to connect with the people that you really want to work with the most. Not to sell or anything like that, but just for the connection. And the reason that we want to do that is because it keeps you on top of your game. For example, you might think, I know that so many women in menopause would do so well with, I don't know, vagus nerve therapy and stuff, right? But when you go into these communities and you're part of these communities, nobody's talking about vagus nerve stuff, right? They're talking about their own experiences with the day-to-days of menopause or perimenopause, all the things. They're talking about the challenges of forgetfulness. They're talking about the challenges of irritability or moodiness. Maybe they're talking about the challenges of feeling misunderstood, of working for, I don't know, companies that are male dominated, or the loss of energy, or the reevaluation of their life and maybe getting existential, things like that, right? And so the value of you being around those conversations and a part of that community is it's letting you create messaging and letting you create content as a solution for them. And by that word I mean is, if you want to attract clients on Facebook, the easiest way to do that is to, connect with them, relate to them, share content with them that's relevant, not about the vagus nerve stuff. You know that might be the pathway that you have seen or believe will work the best, but they're not at that point yet. So there's no point you banging on about it in your marketing. Just like there's no point you talking about your programs or your groups and all of these kinds of things to A, an audience that doesn't know you, and B, you're selling something that's so far ahead of where they are, they won't enroll because they're just not there yet. But they would enroll in something that says that they would enroll in something that was more relevant to them now, such as how to deal with the hot flashes without telling him to sleep on the couch, or how to deal with, I don't know, I'm trying to make up stuff now as I'm going, but you get the idea. It's got to be more specific to that. So, and again, do you see how important, like, this really underpins what I was sharing with you before about the niching? That niche lets you know who your ideal client is, lets you really have so clear, specific messaging. That woman with the perimenopause or the menopause, she's going to know straight away you're talking to her and that you've got something for her. The other thing too is master one platform, because if you try and spam all the platforms with the same piece of material, it can result in things called shadow banning, which we don't want. It's where the algorithm says this is not original content, she's spamming platforms with this, and it will look to you and people in your world that everything is working. But actually what's happening with a shadow ban is the algorithm's blocking your content from going out to new people. So it's staying within the bubble of people who are already in your world, right? That's a problem. We don't ever want that. The second reason is because you're learning. There's an art to post it on Facebook. I happen to do it well. I get rewarded with free advertising from Facebook regularly, and I wish that more women would take time to learn how to do it. What I would say, if you're just starting your private practice and it's really important to you to build your audience so that then you can get your clients, is don't use AI. Don't. I would steer clear of it for all of your social media for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because your clients are sensitive to AI content, meaning they can pick it up. They're all using ChatGPT as well. They're familiar with how it sounds. It's got its own personality, right? It's got its own tone of voice. It's got its own cadence. It's got its own way of communicating. And your clients can be put off because if they see your AI content, even if you've given it a little bit of a facelift, but they see your AI content and it usually doesn't resonate because ChatGPT is giving the exact same stuff to a bunch of other counsellors, psychologists and social workers who also think that they're the only ones who've got it. And you can go and see it for yourself. It's hysterical. You can go and have a look. I've put together like a little collage, if you like, of like different practice posts, and they've all got like the exact same paragraphs, but they will tell me, oh, I didn't use AI, and I think, okay. Okay, this, genuinely, Brooklyn, I wrote it myself. I'm like, okay. But anywho, so that we don't want to do that because that's going to get in the way of somebody booking, and we want to make sure that people are magnetized to your content, and that magnetism comes from your emotion, your insight, your wisdom. Even if you're just starting, you've got life experience, I'm sure, that you can draw upon. It needs all of those things. That's what magnetism is. It's being able to magnetize people over to whatever you're putting out. Sorry, just going around a little bit of a roundabout here. We do that through emotion and insight and wisdom, and ChatGPT is a wonderful tool. I'm all for AI. That's why I have this other business called Ethically AI, where I teach counsellors, psychologists and social workers how to actually use it in their private practice, because a lot think that they're using it but they're actually underutilizing it, and you could be creating so much more space for yourself in your business with it. So yeah, it's very important for me to teach that. But anyway, I would say always write it by your hand, whether it's typing by the keyboard or journaling. Write it by your hand. Trust yourself, okay? And you can be sure then that it's not going to be showing up on another practitioner's website or another practitioner's posts, and it will resonate much more highly and more often with the clients that it's meant to resonate with. And that's important because on platforms such as social media, that resonance then sends a message via the algorithm and attracts more clients who are similar to the ones who are reading it and spending time on it, right? So very, very important, and don't underestimate yourself when it comes to that. So yeah, and then the third reason I would say just focus on one platform is because the different platforms have different criteria for building your audience. And so you're just kind of wasting your time and shooting yourself in the foot. It's, you know, you may think that it's helping, but it's actually, you're not getting a penalty per se, like you're not getting a punishment for doing it from Meta or anything like that, other than they're either going to shadow ban or they just won't share it with anyone. Okay? So focus on one platform first. I would say for most of you, that's going to be Facebook. Some of you who are doing EAP, those kinds of things, the executive business coaching, all of that, sure, head over to LinkedIn. I can't think of a good reason any practitioner in private practice would be on Instagram. The reason that I say that, if you're just new, is because you might feel like Instagram is the place to be, but it actually has the lowest attention span. So again, just kind of wasting your time. The way that Instagram works at the moment, and it has been this way for a little while now, is on entertainment. So it is a platform that people go to numb out, to kill time, just for distraction. They're not there for community, they're not there for seeking information or any of those things. They're killing time, and you get rewarded for entertaining people. Now, it's unlikely that as a mental health professional, you're going to be in the business of entertainment. So I would just say, maybe don't. I know this is really difficult for some people to hear, but the reason I'm saying it is because your practice, when you're beginning and when you're in an established business that's not working, can be made to work a lot more quickly, and with you doing a lot less things than you might imagine. So again, this is part of why we always want to have that marketing plan and marketing strategy. So business plan, niche, your messaging, your marketing plan, and your marketing strategy, they are the 5 top things. Next, the next sort of category, if you like, would be definitely your systems and processes. You must have these in place before you start the practice, and you must feel good about using them. And good means competent. It also means aligned. It means ethical, all those kinds of things. But you might be thinking, well, what type of systems do you mean? Haluxy or Clinico or Xander or something? No, they're platforms. What I'm talking about with systems is you need to have a system of attracting clients. You need to have a system for onboarding clients. You need to have a system for managing the money. You need to have a system for managing people who book inquiry calls and don't end up working with you. You need to have a system for managing your diary. You need to have a system for managing the money. You've got to have all these systems in place, and within each system there's a collection of processes. The value of having good, strong, robust systems in place is they save you a lot of time once they're installed into the business. They give you peace of mind because now you have confidence. You know exactly what's going to happen if something happens in your business. For example, you know exactly what's going to happen in the Christmas holidays when you're going to close your business. You've got a system for making sure that the money continues to flow even though you're not working. Or you have a system in place that ensures you get paid, and that month on month your pay is going up. You've got a system in place for that. So it means you're never scrambling. It means there's less, you're never scrambling. There's less of the bright, shiny object syndrome, less of that, and less being reactive. And when we're less reactive, when we're less doing bright, shiny objects, we're also less emotional in terms of the emotions that perhaps don't feel great. The emotion of helplessness, hopelessness, not understanding, the emotion that comes with the busyness but not seeing the results, the emotion of failing, if that's something, I think so many of us have felt like we've been failing at some point. So having the systems, make sure that all those things are in place. The other reason that having good, strong, healthy systems in place for the business before you start is so important is especially for if you're somebody like me who gets distracted easy. I love novelty. I really do. It's part of being neurodivergent. I love to invent things. I love the feeling of being inspired. I really love space to create things and test them and try them and see if this works, or maybe does it not work? Do I tweak it and change it, make some adjustments and get it to work? Or do I just put it in the, well, it didn't work out, but I'm really glad I gave it a shot pile, right? I love all of that. But if I didn't have good systems in place, it would be a nightmare, because I would have a lot of projects on the go that simply weren't finished, that weren't actually going to shift a needle in my business, but were still giving me a lot of pressure and stress. And then I wouldn't be operating the business effectively, meaning my boundaries are probably shot now. My pay is probably going to be quite erratic. My clients are probably going to be reflecting the, erraticness, if that's even a word. They're going to be scattered. And for them, that can show up in their own communication, perhaps, right? It all gets reflected. So save yourself the trouble and go and put some good systems in place so that you're free to go rogue in your business, right? So that you're free to, if you get that hit of inspiration and you don't want to suppress the impulse, you can just go for it, and you can, because it's not going to affect the revenue and it's not going to affect the clients, it's not going to affect the diary, because you've got these things in place. Practices that take longer to get to profit don't have systems in place that work for them. Or they've got some really great systems, but they don't use them because they don't align, they don't feel ethical, they don't feel confident, or maybe there's a lack of competency around actually using it, understanding why they need to have that system in place initially, how the system functions, and what the benefits are of using that system within the business for themselves, for the business, and for the clients. And so they will use them in a wishy-washy way or not use them. And they're often people who say that they're stressed, they're tired, they're overwhelmed, they're working really hard and not seeing results. So you can circumvent that by making sure that you have them right from the outset. The essential ones to have in place are going to be your admin system, your money management system, and also your marketing systems. So getting those in place, very, very important. They can take time. That's different for everybody, how long it takes. In Momentum, I provide all of the women that I work with the simplest, quickest, easiest ways to get these things installed into their business so that they can hit profit but keep it going. And that's called sustainability. And so we want to make sure that the business has the right foundations in it from day one to be sustainable. It can be really challenging if you set up your business without knowing that you need all of these things in place, and then it's not working out, and then you come to me or another qualified business coach at some point and they say, great, I need your numbers. And you go, well, what numbers? And you say, oh, well, I need the KPIs. Can you email me your KPIs? If you don't have those KPIs, you can't email them. But it's also meaning now that we've got to, have a conversation about, okay, so have you been knowing what are your success metrics? Like, how do you know that posting 17 times a day on Facebook is worth it for you? How do you know if it's actually been working? Because you've been doing it for 3 years, so you must have some idea. Like, how do you know? How are you measuring? Oh, well, I don't. I just keep doing it, right? Oh, okay, no problem. Where are your clients coming from? I don't know. So is what I'm saying. And then you have to learn those things. So it's learning curve, which some people take to like ducks to water. Other people hate it. They're like, I just need a client now. I don't teach me stuff. Why do I have to do this over here? Like, that's not my priority, Brooklyn. Because they're not understanding that the reason that I need the numbers is so that I can figure out what on earth's been going on that's been getting in the way of you not having the numbers, right? No numbers means no clients. The numbers are very, very important because they tell you a story about what's working and what needs to change. So I appreciate some of my clients that they're desperate for a client, but we can't just jump over there and like just do more posting on Facebook, because you'll burn out. You'll spend all your time doing AI generated posts with ChatGPT and throwing them up day after day after day, and you'll be tearing your hair out saying it's not working. And the reason it won't be is because you don't even know if that was part of the problem or not. It doesn't make sense. You must know the numbers. And that's just one example, right? You've got to have your metric system in place, because without all of that, without having that understanding of what's working and what's not, it means that you run the risk of creating habits that hold your business back from attracting the inquiries, from attracting the bookings, from attracting the supervisees for your supervision, or the students for your course, or the members for your membership, the subscribers for you get the idea, right? We want to optimize your business setup for clients, for revenue, and for you in terms of the things that are important to you. Right? Maybe you've got a word of the year. Some of us in Momentum have a word for the year. Mine is spaciousness. So I'm doing a systems audit at the moment on my business of what systems are giving me spaciousness, how much spaciousness could they potentially give me, and where's the gap? Is there an opportunity here for me to let go of some of my systems and introduce new ones? Or do I have to update what I've got? Or is everything actually okay, but I've identified one or two opportunities for some new things that have come along? Now the business is in a growth phase at the moment, which it absolutely is, as you know. So they're some of the North Stars that if you did these things before you start your private practice, you will reach success as you define it by revenue, clients, impact, or your values, all of those kinds of things, much more quickly than if you don't. And it is work. I'm not going to lie. It's work. But it is a business. The business is more than you sitting on the couch drinking cups of tea and nodding and smiling at a client, right? It's about also everything that happens and must happen behind the scenes so that you can sit on the couch with even more clients and drink more tea and listen to more stories and have more of an impact and share more tools and more strategies and help more people. It's not going to happen if you're burning out. So it's always your choice what you want to do. I'm always going to encourage you to do the front end part of business. If you can get that sorted out, and it doesn't have to take long, you could do it in 90 days, depending on how you go, of course, but you could definitely get that all set up in 90 days. And then boom, day 91, hello everyone, we're open for business and you've got clients there, right? And then it's kind of a matter of you maintaining what you've got, and you do that through a system of continuous improvement. Very important. So you're going to do that. It's refining. It's making sure that you've got a way to refine, and the things that you want to be looking at, again, are going to be determined by your metric systems. This is why we've got to have all of these things in place, but you wouldn't know that if you were, I guess, like me, and you went and studied degree in psychology and you came out the other end of the university, pipeline as a psychologist, like, yay, throw the cap into the air, but I've got no training in how to run a business, right? You have to learn. And don't make the mistake that I and so many of your colleagues made by just thinking it was going to be easy and just having a crack. Trust me, the people that get set up correctly before they open are the ones that never look back. They're the ones who experience success just so much more quickly, and I absolutely want that for you. And I'm sure you want that for you too. I know. They're the things. So I'm not sure how this is landing for you. Maybe there are bits that you agree with. Maybe there are bits that you don't. It's all okay, of course. I would say don't rush. It can be very exciting to go and get your photo shoot done and get your website done and everything, but it's not exciting to work with a business coach that says to you, we've got to tear it down and start again. That's not fun. It can break your heart, especially if you love what you've got, but it's not working. And the reason it's not working is because it's missing the things that are required. So save yourself time, save yourself money, get yourself set up for success before you open. So this is today's episode on your private practice checklist here. I think the other thing, just in terms of summing up, is it takes a certain type of person to create a successful practice. Not everyone can do it. There are people who have practices that barely pay themselves, but if you looked at their social media, you would think that they were crushing it. It's a trap. People want to put their best foot forward for a reason, for lots of reasons, right? What was I going to say? But the thing is, it's only a certain type of person that can get their business kicking over a profit within the first 12 months. And that's somebody who sees themselves really as a business owner as well as a practitioner, and gets comfortable with wearing both of those hats. And it can be really tricky to do when you've just been immersed in study and community of other students and immersed in the environment of healers and helpers and all those kinds of things, to just, suddenly say, oh, I'm a business owner and I'm going to have systems over here. It can be really tricky, especially too when it comes to the money side of things, because maybe you don't have a lot of experience yet, perhaps handling the transactional side of being a therapist practitioner, right? It can be tricky navigating the transactional side of things. So it does take a certain personality, but your personality is just made up of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your behaviors. And maybe you just haven't learnt those things yet. And so that's why some aspects of running a private practice may feel disjointed, out of alignment, not good, all those kinds of things. And that's okay. You can learn all of those skills, right? You can learn how to be a kind, caring therapist, but you can also learn how to be a kind, caring, thoughtful business owner, and maybe even a leader with your private practice. Both of those things can be possible. So I hope that this was interesting, and I hope that it was really helpful. And if you need any help with your private practice, head over to my website, go and check out Practice Momentum. The next intake is in March, but applications are always available. Like, you can always go and submit an application. And you will know within 24 to 48 hours of the progress of your application too. And if you have any questions about private practice or anything that we've discussed today, and you would like some more information, you don't need to book calls or anything like that. And you can just send me a little email, and I will be more than happy to send you along any insights, wisdom, resources if I've got them for you, things like that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alrighty, have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday, and I will speak with you in the next episode of the Private Practice Momentum podcast. Bye guys.